everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we will be completing in today's video. If you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that is something you are interested in, go ahead and subscribe. Otherwise, before we get started, the only thing that you will need to do is download the color palette. I have it linked in the description below. It's totally free to download. Just open up the file that downloads and it'll automatically pop into Procreate so that you can use the same colors as you follow along with the video today. I will also post the canvas dimensions, color profile, and layers needed on the screen here and in the description below so that you can use those to set up your canvas. So take a minute to get everything ready and then come back and we will get started. Okay, this is the color palette that we will be working with today. So our first four colors are our background colors, which will turn into like a nice gradient. The second row of colors are all of our cliffs, and then the last two are detail colors for our water lines and everything, and then our birds. So we are just going to get started on the background, and we're actually going to build our background on layer 1 rather than changing our background color layer. So we'll just leave that alone. We'll be on layer 1. We will grab the first color on the first row of the color palette and drag and drop it onto the background to fill the entire canvas. And then next we will be on the same layer 1 here, and we will grab our second color on the top row, and we're going to create essentially just 4 blocks of color of all these colors and then blur them all together to get a nice gradient. So with our second color on the top row selected, we are going to grab our selection tool, set it to rectangle with color fill turned on. And I'm just going to start on the bottom left corner here outside of my canvas and draw and drag it up to cover like the bottom 3/4 so that there's about 1/4 showing at the top still of our first color. And then go ahead and let that go to fill it in. Go ahead and click the selection tool to turn it off, and then we will grab our next color, the third one on the top row, grab our selection tool again, same thing, rectangle and color fill turned on, start in the bottom left outside, and drag and draw to cover like the bottom half. Let that go. Click the selection tool to turn it off. We always have to turn off our selection tool because if it's still selected and then we go to our color palette to select the next color, it will just fill in the selection again with our new color. So we have to turn it off first, grab our next color. So now the fourth one on the top row, grab our selection tool again and cover the bottom like 1/4 of our canvas with this color now. Again, turn off our selection, and now we are going to blur them all together to get a nice gradient. So to do that, we're going to click the wand icon in the top left and then click Gaussian Blur and drag this up pretty high to like maybe 60% to get a very, very, very nice blur between our colors. Okay, and that is our background. So essentially our light blue at the top here is our sky, and then it just directly fades into our water, which is like all of our teal colors here. So there's no real horizon line, it's just super faded. And now we'll just start drawing our cliffs. So we'll start with our backmost cliff that will make up essentially what is our horizon line. And we will do that on a new layer. So go to our layer menu, add a new layer, grab the first color on the second row of the color palette now. We are going to have our brush be on the monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. I have it set to about 30%. And essentially we are going to have 5 different cliffs. One of them is going to be in the very, very front where we just see like the top of it, so we won't see the bottom line. But we do want to have 4 that we can see the bottom line and the cliff side in the water. So just make sure to space them out pretty well. So we're going to start pretty high up here. So we're going to start maybe like, again, like 1/5 of the way down our screen here, pretty high up. We're going to start on the right side here, just in the middle of our screen, closer to the right edge, and this is going to be where it ends, and then we're going to draw it all the way off the left side of the screen. So this will be the tip of our cliff in the water. So I'm just going to start right here with my monoline brush, draw a line straight across, hold it down until it turns into a perfectly straight line, and then touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal and have it go all the way off the left side of the screen, and then let it go. And then now from this point here on the tip of our line, we will draw a nice wavy line also going off the left side of the screen. And you can even go up off the top of the screen if that's how yours works out. Mine might go off like somewhere in this top corner, whether it be on the top side or the left side, it doesn't matter. But I'm just gonna start on the tip here and just make a nice like wavy line with different waves. Some longer, some shorter, just kind of whatever works, and then go ahead and fill that in. So that is our backmost cliff. And then on the same layer with the same color, we're just going to make like one single little rock that's also kind of out in the water here on its own. So I am going to just make a straight horizontal line, pretty small. So just draw a line, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal, and then I'll just draw like the top of the rock to connect the two sides and then fill that in. So each of our cliffs will also have like a corresponding rock or two with them, like so. So now we'll go to our layer menu and add our next cliff. So we'll just add a brand new layer on top of this one, grab our second color on the second row of the color palette, and we'll start a little bit down and a little bit further to the left now. So maybe right about here, I will start my next one. So again, start with our horizontal line going all the way to the left. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen going off the left side. And then again, starting at the tip, I will draw going back and then up and then off the screen in some wavy lines again and fill that in. And then again, I will just draw a rock maybe like further down in the water here with the same color on the same layer. So I will draw a nice horizontal line, hold it down, touch my finger to the screen, make a little rock where it's maybe like higher on one side and then gets lower. Fill that in. If you need to clean up any of your edges, you can. You can grab your eraser also on the monoline brush at like 30%. And if you ever have any edges that get really ugly, you can kind of clean them up a little bit. And your lines don't have to be perfectly smooth, you know, they can be kind of jagged here and there as you draw them, but if you want them to be smoother, the trick is just to draw pretty fast. That gets you a nice smooth line, and then if it doesn't look the way you want it to, you can always just redo it. So I know it's easier to draw slower so that you can get the shape that you want, but then your lines get kind of wobbly and stuff. So if you want smoother lines, just draw a little faster, and if you have to redo it a couple times, that's fine. Or you can have them be kind of jaggedy because they are rocks, so they don't have to be smooth. But that is just a little trick. So now we are going to draw our next cliff side. So we will add a new layer on our layer menu, grab our next color, the third one in line on the second row, same brush and everything. And again, we'll start down a little bit further, make sure that we're spacing them out pretty well. So we're going to have two more where we can see the fronts of them. So I will have like maybe one here and then one here, so that is still a good amount of room. If you need more room and these are too far down, you can move them up a little higher. So you can either select them one by one and move them up or down, or you can select them both if you like the spacing between them, but you just want them up higher. You can select both of them on the layer menu by selecting one, sliding right on the other, and then click your arrow tool and you can move them together. So if you need any more room, or you can downsize them or anything if they got too big, but just make sure that you have room for like two more main cliffs, and then we'll have the one just kind of on the bottom that's like way in front. So anyway, we are on our new layer with our third color on the second row. And yes, I will start maybe right about here. So it's like down and to the left again. Draw a straight line across, hold it down, turn into an arc. I'm going to do that again. Touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. And then this one I might have be like a little bit steeper, so it's just kind of like just taller overall. And then fill that in just to kind of mix it up a little bit. And then maybe for this one we might have like two rocks. We'll do like one small rock right at the tip, so a very small horizontal line, you know, a nice like tall kind of rock. Fill that in. And then maybe we'll do a just more normal rock. and fill that in. Okay, so again, if you need more room, you can move this one up or move your other ones up. Now that we have this one laid down, we will add one new layer above this, grab our fourth color on the second row, same brush and everything, and I'm going to start a little bit further to the right this time from our last one. So I'll just start maybe right about here, draw a line straight across, hold it down, touch my finger to the screen, and again, we might have it be like a little bit taller like this and fill it in. And again, we'll do a couple rocks for this one, so I might do one kind of smaller one, and then maybe a little bit bigger one closer to the edge here. Like so. Okay, so now we have them all laid out. We can move them a little bit if we need to. I might move my second and third one, so these two middle ones, I might move them up a little bit to create a little bit more space here and, you know, get these two a little closer. So on my layer menu, I'll find my second and third one, slide right on that one to select it also, click my arrow tool, and just drag them up just a little bit, keeping them on this left border here. So I have snapping turned on, and that yellow line on the left side just means that I am perfectly lined up with the left edge, which we want because we still want them to go off the left side of our screen. So there's no gap there. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to add my final clip in the front now, and then we can move them around again if we need to. So let's add a new layer at the very top of our layer menu, grab the fifth color on the second row, and I'm just going to start on the left edge this time and just draw like a big wavy line in front going off the bottom of the screen closer to the right side here, and go ahead and fill that in. So again, do any more moving if you need to. I might move my second to last one here just a teeny tiny bit. So move them around as you see fit, whatever works. If you need to move any of the rocks around, you can do that as well. So they don't have to be perfectly in line with your cliff even, as you can see some of mine go kind of off. But if you want to move just the rock itself, you can like go to the layer that it's on, grab your selection tool, switch it to freehand with color fill turned off, select just around the rock, click the arrow tool, and then you can kind of move it around on its own. So that might help if your rocks end up like running into each other at all when you start moving things. So go ahead and finish up your placements of everything, and then we will move on to the details in our water. So the first thing that we're going to do in our water is make the like kind of lighter puddles that are around our rocks. Where our water gets like shallower, the water gets lighter. So closer to our rocks, the water is lighter. So we're going to kind of create that effect. So to do so, we are going to add a layer right above layer 1, which is our, background gradient layer, right underneath our first cliff layer in the very back. So add a layer right there. Grab the first color on the last row of our color palette, same monoline brush, and essentially we are just going to create a little ring of water under our rocks and under our cliffs. So I'm going to start under my rock here. And I'm just going to start on the left side right behind my rock. I'm going to make just kind of like a little oval almost, kind of wavy, going around the left side through to the right side and in front of it, and then connect it in the back, and then fill that in. So just kind of like a little puddle almost around our rock there. And then we're going to do the same thing to our cliff side. So I'm going to start close to the right side here behind my cliff, come out, and then make like some wavy lines until we get to the edge where we can't see it anymore, and then connect it behind the rock back to our beginning and fill that in. I'm just going to smooth it out a little bit where it got kind of real ugly there. So make adjustments as you need to. Okay, so same color, same layer. We're just going to move on now to our next set of cliffs. So we'll first make a bubble around our rock here. Well, make sure to connect it and fill it in. Okay, then our cliff. fill that in. And if you ever have any trouble like connecting it and you can't get it, you can go ahead and turn off the layer that you're underneath. So if it was like this second cliff layer, I could turn off the cliff layer itself by unchecking it on the layer menu, and then you can see your shape better and see where you need to connect it. And then you can just always go ahead and turn it back on. So make sure we're still on the same layer here with our water, same brush, same color. We'll move on to our next set of rocks here. And then this rock and this cliff are pretty close together, so they're just going to kind of intersect here, so that's fine. So we'll just kind of have them flow into each other, like so. Okay, next one. Okay, so that already adds like a really nice effect to our picture already. And just in the way that our color that we use, this bright, like almost whitish bluish color that we used, it looks so much brighter down here on top of our darker color, and then it looks more faded as we get further away. Even though it's the same color, it just plays differently on this lighter background color, but that actually works really well because the further away that it gets, it would be like a little bit more faded. So it looks nice to have it like more stark in the front and then more faded in the back, even though we didn't even change our color at all. So that is nice, looks good. So next we are going to go ahead and add just the splashing details to our rocks. Okay, so we'll start with this back one and we'll just do the teeniest little bit of like something there. And then as we get closer, it'll be like more detailed. So we will add a new layer and it will be above this furthermost cliff, but below this second one. So right in between them. So find our furthermost cliff layer, add a layer right above it, below our second cliff. Same color, this first one on the last row, and we're going to switch our brush to the old brush under the painting category. I'm going to have it set super low, like 4%. And we are just going to zoom in here and we are just going to very, very lightly add the teeniest little bit of splashing effect, just going in a vertical motion with this brush on the right edge of the rock here, just the teeniest little bit there. And then again on the like bottom and right edge of our cliff here. So it just kind of covers that right bottom edge a little bit, very, very lightly, you know, pretty lightly, and then just kind of going up on the side and then just kind of varying it here and there. So it's like higher and lower, like so. So not too much on the back here. You wouldn't see it very high. So we're just adding the teeniest little bit kind of to the bottom of our cliff. So something just kind of like that. And then we'll do the same thing for the next one. So we'll go to our layer menu, add a new layer above our second cliff layer, below our third one. So right in between them. And then same thing. We will go in and we will add a little bit of a splash on the front of our rock or the right side of it. Like so. Again, not super high or anything because we wouldn't see it that high from so far away. And then again, up and down on the base of our cliff here. Pretty small. All the way to the edge over here, which is why we have to draw it below our next cliff layer, just so that we don't end up on top of it when we get to the edge. Okay, so something kind of like that. And then the next one here will be a little bit more detailed. So we will add a new layer in between our third and fourth cliff layer. So we're on this one here. Okay, so same thing with the splashing. We'll maybe make it like a little bit higher and a little bit more like just detailed in general. So you can just see it a little bit, and you can just see it a little bit better too, again, on this darker color. But again, just on this like front and right side here. like so. Same thing on our second rock, since we did 2 on this layer. So if you did 1 or 2, obviously just do it on whichever ones you have. And then on the front of the cliff here as well, all the way down. Again, like a little bit higher than we were doing before, kind of like this. And then we are also going to add just the teeniest bit of like spray as well. So we're going to switch our brush really quick on the same layer, same color. We're going to switch our brush to the Flicks brush under the spray paints category. We'll have the size again set pretty low to like 4%. And I'm just going to tap around a few times towards the top of the spray, the top and right side. Add a few little like, you know, bursts of water there. On both of the rocks and then on the cliff side as well, but just on the top and right sides. So just right there. Just kind of tap around a few times. I don't drag my pen, I just kind of tap to add a little bit of that. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing for our very front cliff here, not the very front one, but the second to front one. So again, add a layer right in between these last 2 cliff layers with our, you know, really dark one right in the front being on top. So right above our 4th cliff. Same color, we're going to switch first back to our old brush under the painting category. Again, we'll leave the size at about 4%. And again, do the same thing. So right in bottom edge of our rocks here. And our cliff. Okay, and then we are going to grab our Flicks brush again. So let's switch to that under the spray paints category. We'll increase the size a little bit to maybe like just 6. And again, tap around on this front area quite a few times to really get some good spray there. Not too far away from our original water. If the size is a little too high, which it might be, to kind of control, you can always go back down to like 4%, or, you know, the brush kind of goes all over the place. So if you just kind of undo it and, you know, redo it if it gets too far away from where you're trying to place it, just kind of redo it. Okay, so something kind of like that, very simple. Okay, and then that is it for like the details around the rocks. So now we're just going to add the lines in the water to kind of make more of a water look. And then we will add the birds to the sky. So next up is the water line. So that is going to again be at the very bottom, right above our background gradient layer. So right above layer 1. So find layer 1, add a new layer right above that. We're going to use the same color, this first one on the last row, and we are going to turn on the grid function with assisted drawing so that we can draw perfectly horizontal lines and we don't have to like hold them down every single time to make them straight and horizontal. So to do that, we are going to go to the gear icon in the top left, click under canvas, click to turn on the drawing guide, click edit drawing guide, and we already have the 2D grid on. We don't need to change the size of it or anything. I might lower the opacity just a little bit so it's not so in your face. But the biggest thing is just that we want to be on 2D grid and we want to click this button here to turn on assisted drawing. And then go ahead and click done. Then we just need to make sure that this layer that we're on now on our layer menu says assisted. If it does not, go ahead and click on it and turn on drawing assist. And then the brush, we are going to switch to the studio pen under the inking category. We're going to set this to 10% for our size. And now when we start drawing, just anywhere in this open water here, when you start drawing horizontally, it just keeps it horizontal. So the beauty of the studio pen is that it kind of gives like a faded look on the edges, and then it gets like a teeny bit thicker in the middle, so it just kind of fades in and out nice. So, you know, just kind of draw some little lines all the way throughout. They don't have to be a certain distance apart. You can group some closer together, some further apart, some can be going off the right edge. But don't get too far into the sky, so just anything under this very last cliff layer, we can add these lines to. So again, some longer, they can go behind our cliffs on the left side here too. They can go, you know, under our little kind of puddles here even if they do, that's fine. And again, the closer that they get to us and they're on the darker color that they're on, they get a little bit brighter, which is good because again, we want them to look kind of faded in the back, but then brighter in the front. So just add as many or as few of these as you would like. And then we will move on to our birds. So once I am done with that, I'm going to click on my gear icon and click to turn off the drawing guide so that we don't have to look at that grid anymore. But assisted drawing is still turned on, so you can still draw your perfectly straight horizontal lines. If you turn that off and decide that you need to add any more, go ahead and do so. And then just to kind of give them a little bit more of a faded look, we are going to go to our layer menu, and on this layer here, click the N to open up our options, and we're going to drag this opacity down to like 70 to 80%, somewhere in there. That just looks a little bit more natural instead of being so bright. They just kind of fade in with the water a little bit better. So then lastly is our birds. So we will go ahead and add those to the very top of our layer menu. So let's find our topmost layer, add a layer right above it. Grab our second color on the bottom row, our dark gray color. We're going to use the same studio pen. We're just going to increase the size of it. So we'll increase the size to maybe 30%. And then to draw our birds, we are just going to do the standard like V pattern. So the trick is to start in the middle so that it's nice and thick in the middle, and then kind of taper out as you make the curve, and then it just kind of naturally tapers as you pull your pen away. Again, yeah, start in the middle, and then you would do the same thing on the other side. My trick is that it is very hard for me to draw it straight up and down, so I am going to turn my canvas sideways, and then again, this is where I'm starting, and I go up, and then I go down. And that's just like a lot easier for me. I mean, that one didn't turn out perfect, but for whatever reason, that's just so much easier for me to do and control it. I mean, look at that. That turned out beautiful. So whatever works for you, but yes, it's just a lot easier for me to do it horizontally, start at a point and go to the left and up, and then go to the left and down, and have it taper like that. So there are two. I'm just going to draw one more, maybe smaller one kind of here. Okay, and so you can do as many or as few of those as you want. You can do bigger, smaller, whatever works for you. And I just kind of put mine in this top right area just so that you can see them better, and that just kind of makes more sense. But you can make them over your rocks or over your water, just kind of wherever you would like to place them. If the brush size is giving you trouble, go ahead and increase it or lower it as you need. But otherwise, that is it for our drawing today. So I hope you had fun. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more tutorials from me in the future. If you would like to share your drawing on Instagram, I would love to see it. So go ahead and post it and then tag me so that I can check it out. While you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so that you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching.